Welcome to Grew with Portia, the podcast that uncovers the hidden treasures within grief. I'm your host, Portia the producer, and I'm inviting you to join me on a transformative journey where we will exchange laughter, of course the best medicine of them all, reflect on cherished memories. Remember that time that the little boy grabbed my hand instead of his mother's at the amusement park? Yikes. And of course discover gratitude while navigating one of life's hardest challenges, loss. So get ready to grow with me, Portia the producer. Let's dive in. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Grow with Portia. I am your host, Portia Booker, and as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to keep up with all things Grow with Portia. You guys, I can barely contain my excitement because today's episode is very special and close to my heart. I've shared this with many of you. Then when both of my parents made their transitions, I took time to dedicate a page to each of them in my gratitude journal. And my gratitude practice started the Christmas before my mom took her last breath. I started with simple things of being grateful for that good cup of coffee. You guys know I love my coffee dark like my soul and sense of humor. And also being able to take a breath of fresh air. This past summer, I cleaned out my car and I found an old bottle of Abilify that I was prescribed years ago when I was really struggling with my mental health. And I took a minute to celebrate how far I've come in my life today. So I have the honor of being joined by a woman who also shares the same sentiment that I do around gratitude. She's the author of the book, A Simple Seed. And she just is an overall amazing person. So welcome to Grow with Portia, Miss Katie Wood. Katie, how are you today?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
Katie, it's an honor. As I brought up in the beginning, Katie, gratitude is that life jacket that keeps us afloat during these challenges and trials in our life. It's
Yeah.
not the rose-colored glasses. I think so many people mix gratitude up with that.
Correct.
Before we dive more into your book, Katie, one of the things I know, your book was inspired after your daughter had a life-saving brain surgery.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, Katie, for our audience, what was going on for you emotionally during that time? And how did, no pun intended, gratitude become the seed planted in your garden of
Yeah.
all the chaos during that time for your daughter?
Yeah. Oh man. You said it perfectly. So, yeah. So, like so many of us, life will throw curveballs and hit you out of nowhere. And I'm a very big believer in it's not what happens to us in life, it's how we respond. It's the word responsibility or ability to respond. So for me, that showed up very loud 8 years ago when our third daughter, Gabriella, had a life-saving surgery. Ear to ear, 8-hour surgery, 150 stitches. Bring you to the floor. If you are a parent listening, we all know you're as happy as your saddest kid. The umbilical cord is never cut. And that was a very dark, scary time in my life. So from the time she was diagnosed to the time she had her surgery, my brain spiraled to very dark places. Like, didn't like where it was going. It flooded with negativity. It was loud, right? And so that's kind of when I had this awareness of how the mind works. And I think this is really important for people to understand that our brains are created to survive, not thrive. It's constantly scanning the world for what's wrong to protect us, right? And that's a beautiful thing in one way. But on the flip side, like, we don't have to live in that space. But that won't happen by just hoping and wishing. So that was the point where a book called Miracle Morning fell into my lap. And I started studying the mind and the science of happiness. So I would wake up in the morning and practice reading something positive, gratitude, prayer was big in my life, I am statements, like all these things that were scientifically proven to help shift, the mind and see what's right instead of what's wrong. And gratitude was the key. So it is the antidote to fear. You cannot live in a state of gratitude and fear. It's actually impossible. And gratitude is simply, to me, a perspective shift. It's you're 100% right. It's not, oh, my life is perfect, I have this, and this, I'm so thankful. It's so much deeper. It's actually choosing to see what's right when everything almost feels wrong. And that's a choice. And the more you practice it, I believe the more your life, shows up to give you opportunities to practice and be thankful. So gratitude saved me. Long story short, went on to create a journal to help kids after my daughter came down early one morning during COVID in my routine saying, "Can you teach us how to do this?" And it really hit me at that moment, like, how have I not taught my kids this, how to center your mind, how to focus on gratitude. I believe, you learning that as a kid will build those daily habits to serve you as an adult because life's going to definitely throw you some curveballs.
Oh, Katie, I feel that. I mean, when
Yeah.
you're just describing the lengthy surgery, uh,
Yeah.
probably so many different doctor consults, long waiting hours, your stomach's growling, you're
Yep.
crying, you're praying, asking God, what the heck? What did
Yep.
I sign up for?
Yep.
And you're taking that opportunity to shift your perspective. I absolutely love that because it's true. Gratitude gives you that opportunity to pause and focus on what is before me, not all the things that I'm waiting to get, right? For my
Yep.
daughter to get better, for her to heal, for us to finally go back home and sleep in our own bed and not sometimes the
Totally.
uncomfortable hospital stuff and then
Yep.
smelling, all the bleach and the cleaners and
Yes.
all the right.
All of it. Oh my God, you're giving me PTSD right now. Yes.
I remember all that, right? And so it's giving you that opportunity to stay grounded in so much chaos. And
Totally.
Katie, I love too that your daughter during COVID, when the world was shut down,
Yep.
right, took the time to ask you, like, hey, mom, how can we create these magical mornings, right? And
Yeah.
and Katie, what for our audience, what does your magical morning look like now?
Yeah, so I'm such a believer too. Like if you as a parent aren't practicing gratitude, please do not expect your kids to understand gratitude. Like you hear constantly today, like why are kids so ungrateful? Why are kids so entitled? Like are we as parents spending the time actually teaching them and practicing it ourselves? Like it's a really important question to ask because I think gratitude, it's this word that gets thrown a lot around a lot, but when you stop and pause and think about why it's so important and you take the time to actually practice it, then you start to feel the difference. I think it's just, you're right. Like it's a pause, right? Like what's in front of me right now. But, when we were in COVID, I was nursing a newborn, homeschooling three kids. My husband's a first responder. Like it was so chaotic. And my kids knew that if I did not start my day with this routine that I'll tell you about, I was a mess. Mom set the tone. Like it's just another thing on our resume. Like we set the tone for the day. If we are off, everybody's off. And so I look at it as I have no choice but to start my day by, I would read something positive, whether it's like an excerpt from a book. My prayer is like a 5-minute app. Gratitude, I simply just have a journal that I write it down. It's and in and really the dividends are in the details. It's the little things in life
Mm.
that you really focus on. And then your self-talk. Like we all have this voice, and what follows your I ams, it follows you. And so many of us are like, I'm tired, I'm not good at this, I'm blah, blah, blah. And we don't realize that like our brain is looking for evidence to support what we tell it. And until you have that awareness, then you start to shift the story you tell yourself. So it was reading, gratitude, my coffee, my I am statements. And then the last thing is, whose day can I make better? Just kind of being intentional. And I started doing this when I felt like the world was crashing on me, would go out and try to make someone else's day better. And it could be a simple compliment, a simple kind act, whatever it may be, but that's a win-win, right? When you help someone, it helps you too. So that's how I would start my day and to this day still do.
And you know what? That habit sticks with you.
Yeah, correct.
Even as and it's like a muscle. I describe
Yeah,
it kind
it
of
is.
similar to remember, Katie, when we were in school and you're learning all the different types of math, whether it's the Fibonacci sequence,
Yes.
geometry,
Yeah.
balancing equations. I always use the y equals mx plus b, which is slope
Yeah.
intercept form,
Yep.
right? I never understood it using a
Sure.
graph, but I use it every day to solve problems.
Hmm.
Right? The y is where I'm trying to get to. The
Yeah.
mx plus the b is the formula I need to get to the y.
Yeah, I love that. I love
right?
it. Yep.
And Katie, I just love too that you said that mom sets the tone. You're the thermostat. You are legitly the thermostat.
You are, whether you like it or not. It's like we have so much on our plate already, and now we set the tone. Like mom's off, everybody's off. And it's for me, it's like I can't afford to not center myself in the morning. It makes such a difference. And my kids know, like when I start my morning right and when I don't. It makes that much of a difference. How you start your day is how you end your day.
Oh, say that again because that is
Yeah,
so true.
it
Ugh.
is. How you start your day is how you end your day. It's all connected.
I start my day with gratitude and I end it too, even for the not so great things, right? And that's the
Totally.
other thing with gratitude. So a couple years ago, Katie, I spoke at a retreat and I
Yeah.
created a gratitude ABC wheel. So
Yeah.
you spin the wheel, it
Yeah.
lands on a letter, whether it's X, Y, Z, whatever, and you mention something in your life based on that letter that you're grateful for.
Love.
Right. Mine just happened to land on the letter T. So, right, I'm grateful for toilet paper.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Some of us have every blue moon we get the Whisker Clan. So I'm grateful for tweezers, right?
Totally.
So sometimes it's in those things, right? And I'm curious, Katie, too. I noticed the title of your book,
Yeah.
Simplicity, a
Yeah.
simple seed.
Yeah.
And when we think about, I'm not a parent, I have a four-legged kid, if that counts, Mr. Fletcher, he's my
It
dog.
counts. It
But
counts.
when we think about the world today, where a
Yeah.
lot of these kids are raised by social media, TikTok,
Yep.
influencers, when you think about your book and the longevity of it, what seeds do you hope to plant in children and their families in the years to come?
Yeah. So I love that you asked that. We called it a simple seed because it's, first of all, a seed, right? A mustard seed, as small as it is, can turn out to be the biggest, most beautiful thing. It just doesn't happen overnight, right? The day you plant the seed is not the day you eat the fruit. Like there is growth that needs to happen. So the cover of this book encompasses acorns. And the cool thing about an acorn is that if you go outside, you'll see acorns everywhere. Like they're just lying on the ground. Sometimes you're tripping on them. Like you can roll your ankle on one. Like there are acorns everywhere. But within every acorn is the opportunity for an oak tree, which happens to be the greatest, mightiest tree in the forest. But why do so many acorns lay dormant on the ground?
Mm,
And the same concept is for all of us. Like inside every single one of us, we have that ability, right? We have that great mighty oak tree. But unless you do the work, it's never going to bloom. It will always stay an acorn, and many people do, and maybe you're fine with that, but just kind of go through life on autopilot, where getting to that great old, like mighty oak tree, which every kid has the ability and potential for, you got to do the work. And that's the gratitude, the story you telling yourself, the belief, the confidence, the service mentality, the reading something positive so that you can choose to see the good even when life is hard. And doing all those steps, and it takes 5 minutes. So it's simple to do, but it's also simple to not do. But when you plant that seed and you do it over and over again, it can bloom into the biggest, strongest tree with deep roots so that when the storms come, when life hits, you're not knocked down and you're not a victim of the world. Like you are choosing to see the good no matter how hard the situation is. And that's not toxic positivity. That's just it's a mental shift. It's a choice. And then going, taking your mess and turning it into a message. But without doing the work, that's not going to just happen.
right. You can't wish it to,
You can't. Can't.
that's like, I think of the analogy, Katie, of the kids in the cartoons where they put the little fishing rod on their head and the hot dog is in front of them and they're
Yeah.
chasing it
Yeah.
around, right?
Yes.
But it's always that one kid who you're not going to get the hot dog by running around with it dangling in front of you. You have to stop and
Totally.
just pull it pull it
Totally.
from the
Do the
the
work.
string,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And I love Katie too, the reminder of the foundation,
Yeah.
right? I was raised by my great grandmother who was born in 1915.
Yeah.
Okay. And so she's seen so many different historical changes in her life,
Yep. Yep.
right? The assassination of Martin Luther King,
Yeah.
the first Black president,
Yeah.
right? Watergate, 9/11, right? She lived through the Great Depression.
Yeah. Amazing.
I'm surprised, Katie, not to be funny, that she didn't have money imprints tattooed on her because remember,
Yeah.
they used to put money under the mattress,
Yeah. Amazing.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yes.
But I think about her resilience and the roots and the strong foundation she had in her faith that I
Yes.
think sometimes today, a lot of these young people don't have that resilient foundation
Yeah.
because they're on social media all the time. They're,
Yeah.
you know, they're getting flooded, right, with so many different definitions of what gratitude is,
Sure.
right? And
Yeah.
I'm curious, Katie, because we're in this age of the digital world, it's not going to go away, right?
No. Nope.
How can young people and their parents utilize social media for what it is, but also find that balance to incorporate more hands on activities such as gratitude to start building that mental muscle instead of it just letting it kind of stay dormant because everything's right before them and instantaneous?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's like I think that it's really important for kids to understand that the Instagram algorithm works just like your mind. So like if you were to go
Mm.
open Instagram right now, right? Like you would see my Instagram feed is you'll see mindset tips, you'll see athletes, you'll see recipes, right? These are things that I am searching for. So the algorithm's like, this is important to her, let's give it to her, right? So those are things that, and tips for like my kids, like parenting. So that's what shows up. Your mind works it is an Instagram algorithm. There's something called
Mm.
reticular activating system. I think the first step is kids have to understand this concept. The RAS, that reticular activating system in the back of our brain, it wakes up when you wake up. And it literally is the algorithm saying, what do you want to focus on today? Like, what do you want to focus on? I'm going to do the work to filter out the nonsense and give you what you're looking for. And that's the algorithm of Instagram. It gives you what you're searching for. So when you wake up and you write down your self-talk, your gratitude, you write down your I am statements, you write down these power words, right? Your brain is like, okay, let's go on a hunt and support what you're thinking about. I want to give you that. It's like the example they always give about the red Jeep, right? You're looking for a new car, you're driving, all of a sudden every single car is a red Jeep, right? Because you told your brain that was important. So that's the concept. I think it's teaching kids first of all that they work the same way. So social media, like my daughter, she's not even on social media. She's 14. I will save things on my phone and start showing her how I use it for good, how I use
Mm.
it to empower me, how I use it to help empower others, where this is a tool that's helping my life, not, depleting it.
Absolutely. And I love, Katie, that you gave that example. You're the second person I've heard talk about the reticular activation system.
Yeah.
I did an interview with someone years ago who brought up that same thing about how it works. If your brain is focused on the negative, that's
Yeah.
what it's going to keep searching for.
Correct.
Where if you, and they actually did like a brain scan. I forget
Yeah.
it's a company there, they focus on holistic retreats.
Yeah.
And so they have this cool like brain scan thing that shows your brain when it's in a state of gratitude,
Yeah.
when it's depressed. I mean,
Yeah.
I was like fascinated.
Yeah. It's amazing.
It's kind of the same thing when people talk about tears. There's
Yeah.
different types of tears that you have. The
Sure.
the crystallization in the actual tears that come out of your eyes are different when you're happy, when you're
Yeah.
depressed, all
Amazing.
the above.
It's amazing.
So, Katie, for our audience, before we move on to the next part of the show, if they want to obviously connect with you, get a copy of your book, A Simple Seed, how can our audience connect with you today?
Yeah, thank you. So on Instagram, it's Katie Wood underscore simple seed. And then growthegoodness.com is our website where you can find a simple seed school edition. So there's one for home, one for school, and then we also have a journal for higher level athletes, teaching the same concept, the gratitude, self-talk, but that's for higher level athletes.
And I love that. So for our audience, Katie Wood underscore simple seed on Instagram.
Yep.
Also, you can find her. You can do a Google search, as we mentioned.
Yep.
AI is our friend these days.
Yes. Yes.
Katie, this has been a fantastic conversation. I thank you for coming on the show. I have one more question for you. As I
Yes.
brought up in the beginning, you and my mom shared something in common. Both of you taught special education.
Yes.
And as we're entering this new school year for parents, how can they and educators, right? Because it's a partnership. Because
Correct.
my mom used to tell me sometimes some of the parents were not always on the same page, and
Yeah.
there was often sometimes that struggle,
Yes.
right? And I'm curious, Katie, what do you think educators and parents can do today to help their children, even their athlete children, right, develop resilience, curiosity, and a growth mindset?
Yeah, so they're all skills. Like confidence is a skill, mental strength is a skill, gratitude is a skill. It's all a skill you need to work on. It won't just happen. And I think the biggest thing is teaching kids how to think, right? So much of
Mm,
school is what to think, but our mission, and that's there, this journal is in schools, helping teachers and students start their day the first 5 minutes of getting your brain in the right place. This is what I've spent so many years doing and studying, and I've seen a huge difference in my life and my own kids. That when you start your day with gratitude, with kindness to yourself and others, with positive self-talk, it changes the whole climate of the school. It changes the culture. It changes the classroom because it's teaching kids how to get their brain in the right place. And when you're in a
mm,
state of gratitude, you're less likely to act out. You're less likely to bully. You feel better about yourself. You feel better about others. So often we're like taking, I feel like so often we're like, oh, the bully did this. Now here's the punishment. When let's focus more on the root of it all, right? Like the root of the bully is sadness, is low self-esteem. Who knows what's happening at home? So if we can start in my perfect world, in my perfect school, and we're in 300 schools, I speak to students and teachers everywhere. My mission is let's spend 5 minutes just getting these kids to understand the mind, how to get in a state of gratitude, kindness, that brain, right? That you just talked about. Like get it, those neurons firing in a positive way. It makes the biggest difference in the classroom for the teacher and the students. And I'm very passionate about the teacher because I think they are sometimes forgotten about. We spend billions of dollars on kids. We spend very little on helping teachers, and a mission that I've become very passionate about because I was a teacher for 10 years and now I'm a business owner. Never once did I leave a professional development feeling like on top of the world and empowered. Like I want to go conquer the world. And when I come in, it is 45 minutes of filling up those teachers' hearts and souls with a story of running the Boston Marathon in a monsoon for the hospital that saved my daughter's life, worst weather in marathon history. And I talk about the ups and downs and how that is teaching, that is life, that is relationships. It's all up and down. That's Gabby's scar, ear to ear, up and down. The EKG, up and down. This is life. And when you're up, enjoy it because it's not going to last. But when you're down, how do you get back up? You're not buried, you're actually planted. This is where growth happens. This is where resilience happens. This is where confidence is built, character is built in the lows, only if you handle it correctly, only if you learn the lesson, only if you build your way back up through positive mindset, gratitude, all these steps. That is what develops a resilient kid. Not the kid who wins all the time, the kid who's been in the dirt and understands, okay, this is where I grow. This is how I move forward. This is how I build confidence. And unless that's taught, it's just a problem's always a problem unless it's learned, right? And it's just going to keep showing up until you get it. And so that's where I really am trying to help these kids and teachers just take a few minutes to center themselves. It makes an enormous difference.
you're the quarterback that all the teachers need in the classroom,
Oh,
Katie, because
man,
I mean it's tough out there
it
for a
is.
lot of educators, especially with social media in the classroom, AI. They
Phones,
want
everything.
okay, all
Yeah,
the above.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So
And I
you
love
deserve it.
Katie too. The analogy that you just brought up that your daughter's scar literally is like the lifeline, right? The machine that's in the hospital that tells you your vitals. The E. I absolutely love that. I think everybody can see that and can apply that to how life really works. The ups and the downs, but
Right.
everything that comes down must go back up.
Correct. It's all how you handle it. If it's a flat line, which we all wish it was, you're not living. And that's the reality of it all. So you better just learn to embrace it because this is the way life was created. It's just how you handle it.
It's all about perspective.
That's
It,
right.
it Well, everybody, that was Katie Wood, the author of A Simple Seed that you heard from today on Grew with Portia. And that concludes our conversation. And until next time, everybody, peace and hair grease, everyone.